Hi, I'm Nick, and I help people like you become the best version of themselves and attain those out-of-reach goals by becoming the best version of yourself. And on this video, we're going to take a look at communication and how you can make it more effective. And in fact, it's a very misunderstood subject because communication is everywhere. Almost everyone has an opinion on it. Almost everyone thinks they're good at communication. And I think the reason for that is that what we say makes sense to us. But you know, there's a fantastic quote, so brilliant, I put it on the back of my business cards, and it says, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And that was by George Bernard Shaw, and he knew a thing or two. And so I want to take a look at that illusion that communication has taken place and look at the things that get in the way of producing effective communication. So to do that, what I need to do is we need to look at what we mean by effective communication. And so let's assume what we're talking about here for a start is between two or more humans with two or more brains. Yeah? So it's brain to brain. Yeah? And for me, effective communication creates verifiable, authentic understanding. So what I mean by that is if I'm speaking to you, the ideas that I'm putting across to you are the same as the ideas that you get from what I'm saying. And of course that might sound obvious, and of course you would, but I'm going to share with you a number of things that detract from that ideal of what I say somebody else understanding authentically, meaning the same as I understand it to be. So the first thing that's going to detract from authentic understanding is a difference in language. Potentially, not always, obviously, but potentially. If someone has, I have English as my first language. Someone who may not have English as their first language may not find it as easy to authentically understand what I say if they're having to translate what I'm saying into their natural language, particularly if it's one of those languages that's not Latin based, that doesn't have the same structure. So there's opportunities there for distortion and lack of understanding. Okay. Second thing, even if we speak the same language, we will have differences in word meaning. And because of that, so for example, I remember a boss of mine some years ago saying, look, I need this done urgently. And so I stopped everything I was doing and I did what I was asked to do urgently. And I returned it to him in 15 minutes or something. And he said, well, I wasn't expecting this now. Tomorrow would have been fine. Well, he didn't say tomorrow, did he? He said urgently. And that was my understanding of urgently. He had a different understanding. Equally, if person A and person B have different motivations, there is a chance of distorting the meaning, not producing the understanding that we're looking for. So what's person A's motivation? What's person B's motivation? Can we get authentic understanding? You know, it's like if you ever walked into a shop or a showroom and you just want to look around, but you get a sense that the person there who's working there just wants a sale. Different motivation, don't quite get the communication that you want. Equally, so motivation is one thing, we can have different goals as well, similar situation, not producing the understanding and the communication that we're looking for. Equally, two people may have different contexts for the conversation. Yeah, I'm just looking for information, one hand. On the other hand, somebody may be looking to produce a result. Yeah, different context, unlikely to produce understanding. Now, here's probably the biggest obstacle that I see to creating understanding. And you've probably guessed it, it's assumptions. We assume that what we say makes sense and the other person will get it, that they will understand my context, my goals, my motivation, etc. And I assume that their motivations and goals, etc., are the same as mine. And they may not be. And if they're not, your chances are you're going to create a misunderstanding. Equally, if someone else's beliefs are different to mine. So if I believe, for example, that people are basically honest and straight talking and straight dealing, I'm going to approach a communication differently to someone who thinks that other people are always out to get them. I'm not saying which beliefs are right, but if you've got one person with one and one person with another, again, you're likely to produce misunderstanding, not authentic understanding. If person A's opinions are different to person B's opinions, the communication is unlikely to produce understanding. And if person A's expectations are different to person B, again, you can see now. There's a theme, isn't there? You're getting it. Yep. And of course, we have to recognize that each of us have hundreds of different biases. And if person A's bias is different to person B's bias, or maybe they have the same bias, but one has a greater degree, you're going to produce misunderstanding. So you see, producing effective communication requires a lot of effort. And if I was to suggest just a couple of tools to work with to minimize the chances of misunderstanding, is first of all setting a context. So before I say what I want to say, I say something. So just to make things clear is setting a context. I'm just having a look around in your shop at the day. I'm just trying to gather information about the market so I understand more about it. Is that okay? Yeah? Set the context for the communication. Even if it, and probably especially with people you're really familiar with, people you're really close to, your partners, your boss, your colleagues. I just want to talk to you about X. Can we do that? Rather than people who just dive into a conversation and you've got no idea of what they're talking about. And hang on a minute, I'm trying to work out what they're talking about. Oh yeah, by the time I've worked out what they're talking about, I haven't heard the next thing they're saying. So context is critical. The next tool I want to share with you is choosing the appropriate question. There are 10 different types of question, and obviously thousands of different examples within those. But choosing the right question is a skill. And different questions will produce different answers. And you want a certain answer, you've got to get the question right. And it doesn't have to be you have to get the question right yourself on your own. You combined with the other person or persons. Clarify what is the question we're looking to get answered. And then move forward. And then the third tool that I highly recommend and people seem to be frightened to use is the tool of recap. So recapping at the end, just a quick thing. Okay, let me just recap my understanding of what you've told me. A, B, C, D. Boom. It seems to be that we think it's inappropriate. We don't want to look stupid. Well, maybe it's time for a bit of humility and just check. Because I can assure you the amount of time you will save by checking that you've got somebody's information correctly will be enormous. You may thank me and send me money. If you've enjoyed the video, please like or subscribe. Or if you want to know more about any particular element of communication, please throw a question down below and I'll look to answer it in a later video.